Hello, everyone, and a happy Sunday. Of course, happy holidays to all of you. Merry Christmas. And I know it's a holiday spirit. Everybody's excited. Everybody's spending time with the families, presents, and so on. And I think it's a very happy time of the year for everyone. And of course, I hope that everybody's healthy and that everything is great. So I want to welcome you back to our weekly trading plan. This is Simon with AvaTrade, and it's another week, and we're trying to prepare for the upcoming week, even though the week we just passed and the upcoming one, they're not really usual weeks. Of course, like I said, it's a holiday spirit, and it affects, of course, the trading activities. As you could see, we had a short week, a 4-day week, and the upcoming week is also partially short. And I just want to make sure that I don't forget to mention this. A lot of markets are going to be closed on the 31st of December, but I think it's the first time in the past decade the US markets are going to be open and trading regularly. So it's going to be a lot of activity in US market on the 31st of December. For those of you that are trading any US instruments, they're going to be fully trading as normal day on the 31st of December. Okay, before we go any further, just want to go, as usual, read the risk warning. Any capital markets and trading information disclosed in this webinar is provided for informative purposes only and should not be construed or applied as investment advice, a recommendation, or suggestion. CFDs are complex instruments and come with a high risk of losing money rapidly due to the leverage. 71% of retail investor accounts lose money when trading CFDs with this provider. You should consider whether you understand how CFDs work and whether you can afford to take the high risk of losing your money. And you can find the full disclosure statement at avatrade.com. Okay, so I want to welcome our new visitors. And for those of you who are new, just a few words. What's the purpose of this webinar? And the idea is very simple. As I like to say, you plan your trade and then you trade your plan. And it really creates a structure and creates direction, creates kind of a plan in a simple way. It's a plan for the week. And with the plan, it's easier to work. Because if you don't have a plan, you can deviate and get excited and get reactive and get impulsive and jump all over the place. And in the end of the week, you realize that you haven't done much. So this is our purpose here, to look through things and see what possibilities are coming in the upcoming week. So fundamentally, we'll go through a little bit of fundamentals. This week, not much in economic calendar, so we'll not go into it. And then we'll go into indices, some Forex, commodity stocks, and we'll try to look into them on the trading platform. And that's pretty much the plan for today. So fundamentals, we spoke about last week, what's on the focus, and it's being discussed already for a long time. And now the whole focus of the next year, on the next year, and on the actions of the Feds and the increase in interest rates in the US, of course, other countries that includes UK, European Union, Japan, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and a lot of central banks, they're looking into the same similar actions to increase interest rates. So that's the whole focus, as the high interest rate would, of course, involve changes. It will bring the costs higher. I was talking about it last week, that interest rate for consumers means higher interest payments on the credit cards, on the mortgages, on the car loans, and so on. And of course, for the businesses, until now, for a while, there was pretty much free money. There was no interest. And now companies that borrow the money, that are leveraged, they'll start pay interest, and they will gradually increase. And that, of course, will hit on the bottom line on the profits. Okay, so that's the focus. Of course, on the negative side, the COVID is still there. A lot of issues in the past. I was reading just now on the Christmas Eve on Friday. Uh, the FlightAware company, they reported that 3,900 flights for Friday and Saturday were canceled, and a lot of those flights are from China, and about 30% of affected flights are from the US. That's about 1,100 flights. So it's still there. A lot of countries take additional moves as far as protecting and creating plans for fighting this new variant. That's a funny name, Omicron. So that's unfortunately still a problem, and it's growing. The cases are growing in the UK and Australia and all over the world. And somehow markets are really ignoring it and or downplaying it, and it's very interesting paradox. So let's move to the trading platform, and we'll try to look into markets and see what could we make out of it for the upcoming week. So before anything, I just want to go through a few things that we mentioned last week and see how they worked out. We spoke about Cisco and GM as far as the stocks. Just want to bring it up. Cisco worked out nicely. There was a continuation to the upsides, pretty much at the all-time highs. GM stock was said it's going to go down, and it was a gap down and then recovery to the upside. Another one that we spoke about, it was Uber. And Uber stock, I mentioned that CEO was very excited about the upcoming year and a lot of new things, and he was saying that the company is going to do great with the new projects and expansions and so on, and stock really reacted to it. And take a look for the 2 weeks, we're pretty going higher. We finding a little bit of a resistance around 44. And I was also searching about some actions, and said there's some huge investors are buying a lot of stock. We don't know if it's institutional or private investor, but it was a lot of money flowing into Uber. So we'll be watching the Uber for the upcoming week around 44. Another one, another group that we actually spoke about is the financial group. So we'll take a look at Citi, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan, and take a look. They started the week with a gap down. Like Monday, we had a drop, and then the 3 days we continued to the upside, a little bit of recovery from this huge sell-off. So Goldman Sachs, similar idea, and JP Morgan, of course, similar idea. So financial stocks, the group that I just showed you, the Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and a few others, the analysts actually predicting a pretty good year for them next year, as the interest rate will actually be a positive thing for them. So in the past weeks, we had a little bit of a sell-off. This week was a nice rebound. So we'll be watching financial sector next year, of course, but we are not talking about next year yet. We're trying to make a plan for the next week. So let's go one by one. I want to start with commodities, and the first one we'll look into is crude oil. Crude oil, we said that we've been ranging in the $3 range between 70 or 69.5 and 73. And last week, on the last day of the trading day, which was on Thursday, we actually broke through the resistance and we closed at 73.63, kind of breaking through these things. Now, what's what's to focus on the upcoming week? It's very simple. Every time we break out of the range that we've been in for a while, if it's strong continuation, if this was accumulation by the big buyers in order to make profits at the highest levels, there were also some stops of the short sellers and these things. So if this move is real, what I would expect is the upcoming week to see the impulse, the strong impulse to the upside. And if that doesn't happen, we can go down and retest 73 again and possibly enter back into the range. So let's see that this level over here from which was sold out, the high here was 74.22. So let's say 74 and a quarter. If we are moving higher and we start having difficulties here, they might attract some traders to short this move in order to make money to the on the downside. So we'll be watching this range between 73 and 74 and a quarter. And also possible, like I said, if this move is a fake move, which we will not know until we see it, we might come back into the range and play the range again. So that's crude oil. And if you're already talking about crude oil, let's take a look at the relevant currencies. USD CAD responded to, there was a sell-off. Of course, the US dollar will go in a moment, was selling off a little bit in the past week, but also what added to the sell-off in this pair, that strength of a Canadian dollar on the move higher on oil. So that's this pair right here. And another one, USD NOK, the Norwegian krona, also had a nice move down, made a nice correction to the downside on the strength of the oil. And we are kind of confirming this level here around 882, 883, and potentially if oil continues higher, of course, we might come back into this level below the line that I just drew, 882.70. And if the oil sells off, we might build a nice strength above the line and go and retest the higher levels on this currency pair. Okay, so we'll be watching USD NOK and USD CAD. We spoke last week about it. USD CAD holding 129. We broke down and we were on the way to retest the support around 127.75. We didn't get to it yet, so we are in the range. So that's crude oil. Natural gas, very interesting actions here. Let's just try to analyze. We had a strong move from this level here from 381 all the way to 646, almost 650, right? What was the high here? 646.2. And then it was a zigzagging, and then we came right back where we started from. And on Thursday, we actually touched this level right here. So this, the low of this day on the July 7th, the low was 351.9, let's say 352. And on Thursday, 5 months later, the low was 351.2, and we bounce. So it looks like this level right here, let's just change it to a different color. So this level right here, it's showing to us a very strong support. Again, first, we started the whole move from here after trying to break down. And then after all these actions, 5 to 6 months, we came back to this level after this accumulation here. We tried to break through. There were no stops here. There was no impulse to the downside. So it confirmed 352 as a strong support. And fundamentally, there's I don't know if any of you heard, there's a lot of buildup with NATO and Russia around Ukraine issue. Russians are building a lot of forces around Ukraine, threatening to enter and so on. And also last week, there were news that they actually shut down the supply of natural gas to Europe in response to sanctions and all those things. So fundamentally, natural gas should have gone up, and it did try. Take a look. After support around 364, 365, we moved higher. And then on Thursday, we just sold out. And Friday, of course, we didn't trade. So this week's going to be interesting. If we hold this level, again, nothing is in stone. We could easily break and go lower, but it looks like on this strong move down, we bounced and recovered. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. Let's take a look. You see there was a sell-off, and then 1 hour we bounced, and then we held. So it looks like we're holding these levels here. And now what we need to see in order for it to go, we need to lift our head up above 381 again, and hopefully continue to the upside. And that's what all these buyers were hoping for. So we did close this gap, I believe. The low here was 404, and the high here was 40, almost like a fracture of a penny. We didn't touch it, and then we sold out. So natural gas, a big player for the upcoming week. Let's move on to gold. Gold, after all these actions around 1800, we say it's been playing around 1800. Last week, we closed about 1800. And we actually closed 1808 after all these actions over here. Now, everything depends on what's next. What's next with the market? Again, just to bring it up, again, what I mentioned last week, it's a war again with the Main Street against the Wall Street. You know, things are not that great on Main Street, the COVID and everything else, but Wall Street, like I mentioned last week, they're trying to push the markets higher, and they're trying to close the year on the highs. So that's very, very important to remember. Sometimes things don't make sense, and everybody thinks we should just crash and so on. But they are holding it. Of course, the market, as it is, it's a speculation and manipulation. I don't know if it's legal or not, but it's been going for a lot of years and decades, so it's not changing. And we'll see if the markets the markets are holding next week and not selling off. The gold might have difficulty going higher, and the opposite scenario, if we really go down next week, which could happen, then the gold would probably go and try to retest the next level. It's around 1833, 1834. So we'll be watching that. Now, another metal that I've been watching, silver. I usually don't mention it, but it's been a uh, very interesting actions there. It was trading below this support here, below 22, and then we came above it. We went to retest something that was resistance. It looks like it became support around 22.17, and then the last 3 days we're going higher, breaking this little resistance here. So potentially we could see silver joining the gold on the move higher here, and we just need to break a psychological 23 level, I believe, for it to go higher. So we'll be watching silver as well. If we're already in metals, let's just take a look quickly at palladium, also acting strong, platinum as well. And copper. Copper is it's been holding here, and now we broke. It looks like we broke this previous resistance here. So next stop, if copper decides to go higher, it's around 445, 446 level over here, and that at around that level we would probably face some resistance because we couldn't break it for a long time, and you can see a lot of actions around that level, around 446, sorry. So it could be that we go and retest it. Soft commodities had a nice week. Wheat went higher, soybeans went higher, and corn as well. Let's see if they could keep up this positive move in the upcoming week. So that's as far as commodities. Let's move to indices, and we start with Nikkei. Nikkei had a positive week if you look on the weekly chart, but we are having a hard time breaking. We didn't break the previous week high, so we'll just take a look at the weekly chart just to see the relative strength. So Nikkei didn't break the previous week's high. Nifty is it has no strength, had a pretty much flat week. S&P 500 is a champion. S&P 500, even though we didn't break the high of the last week, but we had the all-time new high closure of S&Ps. Okay, and that's the close was 47.17 on the futures. Okay, just to give you an idea that they're really pushing to the end of the year, and the gain on S&Ps are they're looking to get about 2.8% in December, and overall it's the 25% annual gain. That's as far as S&P. Dow Jones had a positive week. We didn't make any new highs over here, and Dow Jones monthly gain about 3.7%, and the year to date about 17% gain. Very strong. Nasdaq also, of course, positive week. We're not close to the highs, and on Nasdaq, basically, as of now, we're about 20% a year-to-date rise. So let's see what upcoming week brings. As far as Europeans, the French index is the stronger one. We broke the previous week's high, and we closed at the highs. Very strong. FTSE, also with all the issues and a huge amount of cases of COVID in the UK, the index is really showing tremendous strength. We are on the highs. We closed the week on the highs, of course, and broke the previous week and the week before. So it is strong. Let's see what this coming week brings. And DAX as well, a strong move after this current or recent sell-off. Let's see what this upcoming week brings again on the indices. Now, if you take S&P as a major indication of the equity markets. Of course, it's a US, but all the traders are using it as a major indication of what's happening in the equity world. So we take a look. We had the 3 consecutive moves higher, and if you look at the hourly chart, something that caught my attention. This was the last hour of the day. Even better, let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. This was the closing. So what really looks a little bit of spooky, that all day we're going higher, and the last 5 minutes, that was a huge sell-off. So I really don't understand what it is, and that would give me a little bit of a desire to look at the opening on Monday or Sunday night, whatever's happening. Whoever was selling here, maybe they knew something. Maybe they were preparing. This is a big move. We erased a couple hours of trading in 5 minutes, and then after hours there was a little bit of a trading. Nothing major happened. So if you take a look from here, we dropped from 47.28 to 47.16. So very interesting. I like to watch the last minutes of the session just to see if we're holding, because the whole day we're going higher. Let's take a look. All day we're going higher, and then we sold. So something to really pay attention to when the new session opens. Now that's as far as indices. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Forex World, and we start with dollar index. And dollar index had a rough week. we had a sell-off, and we're still holding 96. We actually closed 96.01. So let's see if we are managing to hold around 96. And as far as currencies, of course, the highlight, I don't know if any of you are watching it or trading it maybe, the US dollar against Turkish lira. Now take a look. Turkish lira before this fall lost about 47% of its value. There was a lot of. I spoke with my friend who actually lives in Turkey, and he says everything is shut down. The business owners, they really, they don't know what to do, buy, sell, and it's really hard. And only the tourists, they go there, they actually spend money. The people, locals are really scared and panicky. So what happened here on this move? When I saw this retracement, a very strong one, I went and tried to look at the news, and that's actually what happened. The president of Turkey, Erdogan, he got on national television just to calm everybody down. He said few things, and he said that he's going to make sure that everything works, and he explained why he couldn't raise the interest rate because according to Islamic law, it's against the law. And then he was talking about it, and he also said that they will inject money into the pension funds. So he tried to reassure the public that everything's under control and everything will be great. And apparently it worked somehow. So we had this move, a very strong correction to the downside. So of course the traders will be looking this week for possible reversal and continuation to the upside for the further weakness of Turkish lira, or they might hope that we're going to continue and try to kind of go to the normal level. So it's a lot of volatility. You take a look at all these tails, a lot of trading opportunities there. Of course, it's dangerous trading right there, but people that like the high risk and high return, they like this environment for trading. So that's as far as Turkish lira. Let's take a look at dollar Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc is finding some supports over here, and of course, if you look on Friday, it's very bad indication what's happening, because Friday the whole every market was closed, but the forex market was still open on the Christmas Eve, so it was a lot of choppy trading. So we are holding this level here around 191.74 on USD franc. The weakest, all the currency was strong against the US dollar besides euro. Euro didn't really show any strength. It was the weakest out of all the currencies, and one of the strongest one was Australian dollar. It's been acting very strong. And let's see what this week shows. Again, the key indicator we're going to be watching, of course, the US dollar. US dollar, if we are holding 96, there was a lot of action here. There was a tight range about between 96 and 96 and a half. So let's see what happens. If we break either lower or higher, it will trigger some stops, and we might see some impulses, some intense trading. So as of now, we're holding 96, and then we'll see what happens if we do break it to the downside. And of course, the high here was on the 24th of November, and there was 96.82. And again, I just want to zoom out and just to show everyone what's the potential here. This is the weekly chart. And after all this move high, we're actually trading here. So potentially we could see continuation. And of course, fundamentally, the increase of the interest rate potentially translates to the higher US dollar. So we'll be watching the upcoming week for that. We spoke about the stocks. Just go through it again. GM continues higher. We might have another move higher to 58 resistance that we saw. Cisco all-time highs. Let's see what the market is doing so far. This is the only stock pretty much that didn't pull back on Monday sell-off one we had last week. So it's very strong. Uber, like I mentioned, we are facing resistance here around 44. Let's see if we break through it. AT&T, we spoke last week that we came to 24.88, 25 area, and we are facing resistance here. If the market gets strength, we might break through and continue higher. It's been retesting the support, and now it's on the way higher. So, and if we are holding this resistance, we might range for a while. Let's look at the big players. Facebook, nothing major is happening there. A lot of choppy trading. Tesla, very important to mention. Tesla, the recent sell-off. There was an article here actually saying that Tesla on the sell-off came and closed the gap. So they say pre-Hertz time. That's actually what happened on this move high. If you remember when Hertz announced that they're buying a big fleet of Tesla cars, and all the sell-off happened when Elon Musk announced that he's selling 10% of his holdings, and actually reported that he finished selling 10%. And we actually had a very nice move high here. So from the lows of 885, a little bit below 900, we closed at 1066. And technically speaking, we are retesting this resistance here on 1070, from which was sold out recently. And let's see if we're holding that. So Tesla on focus on potential continuation to the upside. Boeing, as an indication of what's happening with COVID, had a nice move higher this week, but we are back to resistance around 204, 205, and potentially we either could break and start establishing a support, so we create a mirror level, something they call mirror, then when the resistance becomes a support. So if we are seeing some price action closing about 206.60 or 204.60, 205, we start building some support. There's an opening for continuation to the upside. Apple stock, we failed over here to retest the highs, and of course this week was a strong one. Let's see what Apple does. There's actually some shareholders are trying to apply for some anti-civil rights and so on. Something was reflecting in some articles last week. So a lot of eyes on Apple, and let's see if that fact does anything to Apple on the negative side. I'm just trying to see what could be potentially the move. So this week was strong. If we're going higher, we could retest 181, the all-time high. Just to remind that the target on Apple is 200, so they could try it to the end of the year if they are managing to do that. But again, it depends what the market in general is doing. Microsoft, strong week, but we are zigzagging. We're making lower highs, lower lows. So that could mean we are in the correction mode on Microsoft. Google, similar story. Amazon shows a little bit of a weakness actually. A lot of tails. We are below the previous week's low, high, sorry. Netflix had a strong week. We broke the previous week's high. As we know, Netflix reacts positive on the COVID news as it did in the beginning. So move higher in Netflix could mean that in general market is looking to the downside. We spoke about financial, and two more stocks actually. I want to bring Pfizer. Pfizer just got cleared for the COVID pill by FDA. So, and also President Biden announced that he's going to push to use the pills of Merck and Pfizer to fight COVID and to reduce traffics in hospitals, and that's a big thing. And like I said, Pfizer just got approved by FDA for the pill. So as we're holding here after this recent move, we could see a potential continuation to the upside for the stock as the pill is going to start being used. And our friends Snapchat and Twitter had, of course, a move higher on the high market, and Twitter not so much. And I just tried to understand why these stocks are so weak. And I just read about it's all about Apple and the privacy policy that just had changed recently. So I checked actually in my iPhone, and it says the truth. When you use applications, actually gives you a choice if you like the application to track your activity or not. So I think that's what really affecting these two stocks, and that's what been written on a few websites, that because of those changes to the privacy policy on the Apple devices, the Snapchat and Twitter really showing the weakness here. I didn't know until now, so just wanted to share that with you. And let's take a look at the end at our cryptos. And like we said, the Bitcoin had a hard time breaking 50,000. We're currently trading about 50,000, 58.41. What it means, we don't know yet. Let's see what happens next. So far, the level here around 53 and a half, between 53 and 53 and a half thousand. That's our next stone to step on. As of now, we are trading between 47 and 53 with 50, almost 51,000. We just touched, I think, 51. And psychologically, being above 50 and holding it, it could mean a continuation to the upside. Ethereum is trading at 4,075. Of course, there are two things about cryptos. One, of course, there's a huge interest of investors, and you can read about it, you can see, you can feel it in the air. A lot of people are excited about making a lot of money in cryptos. On the other side, there are problems with regulations. And as I spoke a few weeks back, they were hoping that Powell, the Fed chairman, will be removed or replaced, and whoever comes instead of him would be a little bit easier on the regulations, and that didn't happen. So on that day when he was reappointed, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies reacted to the downside. So it's all about how the regulations and what's happening and how are they trying to create a structure for it. So I guess we'll find out more in upcoming days, weeks, and months. Okay, everyone. So what just wanted to summarize what we spoke about, and it's very simple. We're entering a short week, and the whole focus is on closing the equities higher. That's the Wall Street plan, so they could get nice bonuses. We spoke about crude oil, natural gas, possibility of it going higher. Gold about 1800, looking up. Dollar index trying to hold 96, and a few stocks that we mentioned. So again, I want to take an opportunity to wish everyone happy holidays and happy new year, and hopefully we'll have an amazing 2022 with less chaos, more prosperity, more positive news, and stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll be back next week. I guess this is the last webinar for the 2021. Thank you all, and I wish you all the best. Take care.